Amit and Ang, thank you so much for being here today. It's a pleasure to have you.
It's great to be here.
Brian, it's our pleasure. Thank you very much for having us.
My first question is what inspired the creation of Simplr.ai, and could you walk us through the founding story, talk about the problem you're solving, and how generative AI uniquely helps solve that problem?
Absolutely, I'll take this one. Our creation in 2017 was driven by true pain points of an enterprise. We are a subsidiary of Asurion, one of the largest technology, care, and insurance companies, 300 million customers worldwide, and known for the exceptional customer support and tech support. And the core Asurion value is divine discontent, not settling for good enough. So Simplr was incubated to change that operating model for support. It was an internal Asurion need, and we had to completely variabilize the traditional fixed cost structure of support, gain efficiencies while improving quality through machine learning, eliminating advanced training, ramp, scheduling, and forecasting, and really transform support from cost center to revenue driver. So during the early days, our e-commerce partners experienced very positive business outcomes, powered by our human cloud network that provides opportunity for non-traditional support talent and a machine learning platform created to supercharge our human cloud. So this model then became extensible to pure play automation. Our experiments in fine-tuning Google's early transformers, so precursors to OpenAI, allowed us to seize that ChatGPT wave last fall. And what we learned was generative AI drives more conversational experiences, contextual memory, what we call multi-turn interactions, ability to leverage a lot of highly unstructured data, which the old way of machine learning did not allow in the past, and also real-time language translations, massive improvements over what was possible. And here we are. We are combining the best of human intelligence and artificial intelligence. It's the human cloud and generative AI automation, all to elevate, accelerate, and scale customer engagements on behalf of brands who are fanatical about their CX.
Sounds fantastic. My next question is, imagine a day in the life of an e-commerce professional or a customer service leader in 5 years' time. And what does that look like, and where does Simplr.ai fit into that?
Generative AI is redefining the notion of customer engagement. And it's doing it as we speak, right? We're in the midst of saying goodbye to persona and demographic based product development and on the cusp of true hyper personalization. And that isn't just top of the funnel marketing and how we target you. It's all the way through site design, through product development, through service and engagement ongoing, right? And generative AI is leading that, but it was already starting. So if you look at companies like Shein, which were managing thousands of new items in their app per day and figuring out which ones were succeeding and which ones were not succeeding, is an example of how fast things are going to be moving forward. Now, what generative AI does and LLMs do is two specific things that will change the job. The first is data and analytics won't be a separate team or function within large retailers, right? What's going to happen is those key resources and concepts need to be embedded within the teams, and they need to be thinking from an AI first on how they can personalize their techniques across the customer journey, compared to what was largely a gut feel way of managing the products and the business lines. The second piece of this is that e-commerce professionals will be constantly identifying AI use cases and then overseeing them. Doing your job without AI as a co-pilot or as AI first is no longer going to be an option. Everything from supply chain management to drafting marketing copy will be done with the assistance of AI. The trick is going to be identifying the business cases where AI makes sense, selecting the right technologies, and then overseeing them to drive the results that you want. And that's going to change over those 5 years.
Many people are of course, concerned about some aspects of generative AI, and that really revolves around kind of bias within the models and within how these systems can respond, especially when they're engaging with such a wide variety of different customers out there, different languages,
Yeah.
different cultures. I'm interested in how you're thinking about that at Simpler, and
Yeah.
how you think about some of these challenges as we're still early in implementing these kinds of solutions.
Yeah, Brian, and I think you're hitting the nail on the head there. There are concerns, and then there's vast opportunity that we talked about in our
Right.
first two questions.
Yeah.
And how do you unlock that opportunity, and but make sure that you're dealing and mitigating the downsides of the technology and where it exists today. One of the things that we're grateful for is that we've been in the customer service space for a while, and that problem set is largely constrained. Right? We're dealing with helping the customer through a specific issue with specific data sets. So that helps limit some of the bias in the areas where the bot could provide some of those answers that companies might not want at this stage. But the second piece is we've made mitigating bias and ethical concerns inherent in our bot architecture. To begin with, the bot only pulls from an approved set of data sources in our model. Instead of letting it free form and know on all knowledge it might have, we've constricted it to these are known sources that the brand approves or that we've approved to give it a set foundation. The second piece is that we have a framework called cognitive paths, which actually puts guardrails around the bot to prevent it from going off brand or being manipulated by the user. And the third is this managed service concept. So we're constantly monitoring it on behalf of the brands that we serve and ensure the optimal quality and performance. And we're using both our human cloud and other methods to ensure that that quality has happened. And I'd recommend companies take a similar approach to Gen AI, is start with use cases where the biases and ethical concerns are limited. And then, of course, test before going live. But don't wait too long because of the concerns of starting to pilot and deploy generative AI solutions where it makes sense for the business.
Talk about your best customer, kind of your ideal customer, I should say. What kinds of organizations are best served by engaging with Simpler.ai?
The best customers are the ones that have very challenging problems in support, and it's usually around driving from cost center to revenue driver as a customer support organization, cost reduction without sacrificing quality, and complex customer experiences and their landscape that needs orchestration between different channels and also different types of customers with different needs and personas. And where
that
we've
would describe
helped
a large
a lot
number of
partners.
customers out there, I would think.
Yes, and where we've helped partners traditionally has been in the digital space and with digital support, and that's a fast-growing space, especially in e-commerce and retail.
Wonderful. I think that describes a large number of companies out there. So I would say there's a lot of opportunity associated with that. As we wrap up, I'd love to just hear, where do you see Simpler.ai in 5 years?
Absolutely. We want to do what we already do, but do it for more brands. We aspire to solve the most challenging problems in support, really combining the best of human intelligence with generative AI to power their digital experiences.
Wonderful. Well, Aang and Amit, thank you so much for joining us here at the AI Summit.
Thank you, Brian. We appreciate the time.
Thanks, Brian.